Welcome to our our third session actually, out of 8 for Microsoft Excel. So we are on the third session of 8 in this our Microsoft Excel. In this our third session, we'll be looking at data analysis functions. So the session 1 part of it will be focusing on the logical and lookup functions. Some of these two terms might sound unique or per se new to us, but we are going to see how they help us in solving business scenario. So first, let me take you through a recap of maybe at least what we covered in a nutshell. And then from there, we'll see. Let me see. I think I used this. Yeah, no problem. We can use this. So so let me share my screen. I think entire screen so that whenever I change the screen, all of us can be able to see the changes that I'll be making. So I'll share entire screen so that it can be easier for all of us to switch between tabs. So welcome, Maureen. So we have just started. So today we'll be focusing on session 3 about data analysis functions. But before then, we would like to hear from Maureen, because Maureen, you shared your assignment. So we would like to hear from you from the perspective that how you are able to go about the assignment. So maybe if I could stop sharing if you are ready, so that you can tell us maybe what did you learn from the previous session and what were you able to do on the assignment that we gave. The floor is yours, Maureen. If you are ready, you let me know. I stop sharing. And I can see a red note, so we can be able to handle any doubts. If you are talking, maybe you're on mute, so we are not able to hear you, Maureen. Maureen. So what we did in our
Sorry.
oh yes, maybe you're on mute. You're on mute. Yeah.
Yes, I was in. I actually thought I'm speaking, so just noticed I'd muted myself.
Okay.
Okay.
So maybe you could share your screen, tell us what you learned, how did you approach the assignment, and most probably anything, any challenges, so that we can be able to solve them before we proceed to the next thing for today. The floor is
Okay.
yours. Yeah. Let me stop sharing. Yeah, we can see your screen now.
So that is my screen. So these are the words that I came up with. Mostly I copied what was outside. So I first created borders that we did yesterday, all borders, and then for the unit price here I did the sum.
Maureen, we are not seeing your screen. You are not seeing your screen. Okay, imekuja sasa, iko sawa. Thank you.
Iko sawa. Aya, sawa. So nimeanza na kusema this is what I had. These are the names that I came up with, and then they have gender, product, unit sold, the unit price, and amount. I first nika add a border. So all borders, and then on this unit price, the first one I did an auto sum. That is the auto sum. Yeah, this is the whole. I also did the same for the amount. And also I tried to find the average for the units sold. So it's just doing the average of all the units sold. That is it. Until there, si kila mtu ako sawa na mimi.
Meshak, is it okay? Meshak, you're on mute if you're talking. Maybe Marianne, you can maybe react even with thumbs up to ensure that we are together up to that point. So, in most cases, Maureen, when we are like, for instance, we usually like working with the scenarios. I think that is coming down there, where, for example, you are asked to provide the total sales. Now that expects you to do what? To come up with a column known as amount. So you must tell us that first you wanted to obtain a total sales. So for you to get total sales, you must get amount. How do you get amount? You take the unit sold, multiply by the price of each, and then now when you sum that, you get the total.
I'm sorry, my net had a problem.
Okay, no problem, Meshak. So, Maureen, we are preparing you again in these our sessions. We usually prepare you for communication when it comes to data, because at some point you might be required to explain what does this mean, and so that's why we are also here. Yeah. So please proceed, Maureen.
That.
Yeah, welcome.
So the first part.
Asijazo ni mapenye maana sijazo. Maana
Sorry?
sijazo. Koroke mtuka hiyo.
So the second part, I was trying to sort on the units sold from the, maybe I find who had the highest number of the units sold. So on this column of the units sold, I used the sort and filter upper juu. And then when I sorted and filtered, so just do it, and then you come here and then you sort maybe from the lowest to the highest or from the highest to the lowest, depending on what you want. So I got that the product phone had the highest, and then with the tablet had the lowest. Okay, and then doing the amount is just the same that we explain up at you. You're taking to find the total amount. You take the unit sold, you multiply by the unit price to get the unit amount. So from here, we can see that the highest product that was sold was a phone with a 1.17, and then the lowest was the tablet with 100,000. And then if you want to find the auto sum, you auto sum this. You find that auto sum is equals to sum. I pick that one and then I drop that to nitakuwa nimepata auto sum. The same thing to here. Okay?
Yes, yeah, that is okay.
All right. So the next, I tried to do the formula that we had yesterday, where the first column, I have the first name, last name. So I was trying to put the two names together. So I started by using the formula, ile oneka is equals to, it was, let me just do it. It was is equals to that one. You use the and, nikisahau mnikumbushe, and then was we put the space, and then and again Njeri, and that's it. So and then I drop down, itakuja for all the others. So this is using the formula to combine the two first name and last name to find the first name and last name together in one column. So I had a problem where I was trying to, yesterday we were trying to use the concat and proper together, but I tried, it did not work out for me. I don't know why. So maybe I try doing it right now with you so that you can help me.
Yes, yes, Maureen, please proceed, and
Okay.
we'll be willing to support.
Yeah, so I didn't want to go the wrong route here. First, I do proper for Kevin, and then I do proper for Njeri. I found the full name, and then I do the concat. So I was trying to do both the concat and proper together. So we start with sorry, let me just remove the highlight kwanza so that it can be visible to everyone. It's this one. No, this one. Remove. All right. So I start with concat. Okay, so we're doing proper. Sorry. So I'm doing proper for Kevin, comma. No, sorry. I close first. I put space, and then I do another proper. For Njeri, I close, and then I put a final close. It was a thing, I don't know why. Okay.
I want you to click OK first. So,
Okay.
what is happening there? First, maybe you tell us why are we using proper and why are we using concat? And then from there, we will help you solve the problem.
So concat, I want to put the first name. You see, I have the first name, like this formula here was just to put the first name and last name in one column. So I wanted to do the same here, but using the concat, how is it called? Is it a formula? The concat formula. But looking at the names that I already have here, they're not proper. So they're starting with, one is starting with a small letter, this Kevin small letter and Jerry small letter. So I wanted to do a proper so that I can have both zimeandikwa vizuri, Kevin with a cap and Jerry with a cap. So that is what I wanted to do.
Yes. So from the previous session, we said that proper function is used to capitalize every first letter of the word. So for instance, if you want to have first name capitalized, for example, Kevin with capital K, and then Jerry with capital N, throughout, you need to capitalize throughout all the first names and throughout all the last names, you use the proper function. So proper is a function. Then concat is also a function in Excel. So what concat does now, once you have capitalized the first name with the proper, and then leave space in between. Now you combine the first one, you combine the first name together with the space in quotes. Then you have to put a comma. Everything must be separated with a comma from one instance to the other. For example, from proper, you can see you have B27 close, comma. Then you put the speech marks.
Yes.
Then you have to put comma first before you type proper, the next proper. Yes. Then when you press enter, now your function will be okay. Yes. So that was the challenge that you had, and that's how you've solved it. Now you can see that now that formula and that function is able, that is now a nested function because it's combining more than one function to produce your result. And we said, if now you want to submit this work, maybe this was for the assignment purposes, and for me, I'm keen on the functions. But if you were to share this now with your manager based on the scenarios that we are having, then you need to do away with the formulas. Yes,
So
you need to do
I
away with the
copy.
formulas. You copy the same place, you right click, you paste
then you
values
paste the
special,
values.
you paste values only, so that you don't remain with the functions inside your tables or your data. You can proceed.
Yes.
Think that's okay now?
So I was wondering, what if you're given the Kevin, Jerry, now you need to separate it. You want to go back to here. How can you do that?
Back. Last in the previous session, we learned about autofill and flash fill. So if you have, let's say, copy that data and put it in a new sheet, copy that and create a new sheet, paste it there. Now, you want to perform that, so you need to provide the title there, maybe first name, and then last name in another column, last name. Then now, go to cell B2,
Yes.
type Kevin, then type Jerry in C, Now go to B3, go to the top where we see fill. No, don't type there. Just make the cell active. You
This
make
one.
the cell active, go to fill,
Okay.
then go to flash fill. Click flash fill.
Oh, easy. Flash fill. Oh, nice.
Then you go again to C3, go to fill, flash fill.
Okay.
Another alternative, now that you have asked, I would ask you to first delete the two columns, B and C.
B and C.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, you can leave the titles, no problem. Now, I want you to highlight the data from, that data from A2 to A8. Go to data, go to the data tab,
Okay.
go to text to column. Can you see text to column next to flash fill in the category called data tools? Click on text to
Yes.
column. Now, delimited, that's okay. Delimited means that there is a unique or a special character or a unique something that can separate the data of each field that you want to separate. So in our case, the delimited in this case is space. Some data are usually separated with comma. Sometimes you can be given data that is separated with comma, and so for you to separate that data to different columns, you can use also delimited, but you will provide comma as the delimiter. So you just click on next. Once it is selected as delimited, click on next. Once you go to next, now here you have to provide the delimiter now. Delimiter is the unique separator. What can be used to separate the first name and the last name is the space. Can you see that even in the data preview window? In the data preview window down there, you can see that between Kevin and Jerry, there is a space. Between Mokeira and Achieng is the same person, but what is separating the two names is the space. If you were to have, if you had maybe a data that is separated with commas, you could have provided comma as a unique a separator or a delimiter. When you just immediately check the delimiter, you will see in the preview window data showing you how it's going to be like. So you can see already that that's how your data is going to be separated into the two columns. Then you just proceed. We click next, or you can click finish if you want. So the next now gives you the ability to choose to where do you want it to start its destination. If you click finish, it will overwrite the first cell, it will overwrite like the first A2, it will overwrite there. But if you want to specify, like for example, the destination for our case is B2, then you have to go to next, and now destination, provide B2. Just click B2, then you click that arrow to go back, and then now Once you have provided that is when you can click on finish. So that one allows you to remain with your initial, gives you the ability to remain with your initial full name. You will have your first name and you'll have your last name separate.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Sawa. That is okay with me.
Okay. Now you can proceed.
Okay. Next, I was performing the, let me see what next. The count if. So count if is used to know, if you want to know, if we had more, in our case here, if we had more male than female, like like what we did yesterday. So I used the count if function. So it's first I have to write if I'm starting with male or female. So I started with the male, and then I applied the count if function. Count if, and then I provided the range, which I in this case I'm using this, and then this provide there's a comma, and then male. And then yesterday we were taught if you want the, well, what is the name that we said? If you want the, I'm forgetting the word. Mali, we use the,
Absolute reference.
yes, the absolute reference, and then the other one that locks the data, and then the free one that does not lock data. So for our case,
The free one that does not lock the data is called relative, and the
relative.
one that locks the data is called absolute cell referencing. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. It's good to remind you so that next time when you talk where I am not, you will not say that the other one and people don't know what is the other one. Thank you.
The relative. Okay. So if we do that, so we lock this data because we're using the USD, that one, and then I also lock this one. But because I want the B3 referring to the male, I'm only doing the male, so I won't lock it. If I come here, I'll notice that imeenda automatic because I did not lock it, so it has gone from B336 to B37. So nitakuwa nimepata, for the male the count is 3, and then for the female it's 4. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, I'll take you back. So, just where you are, we are learning, and Mariam also, Marianne also has a question the same. So, we are learning. So first,
Yes.
when we are using count if, we usually use count if we have, for example, a range and we want to count based on a particular criteria. For example, you are asked, how many salesperson do we have that are male? How many salespersons that are male that we have, or how many salesperson that are female in our organization? So this one helps you to know how many of this type are in the entire data. So the entire data is called the range, and now the criteria is now the how many male or how many female. So that's why we usually train with scenarios so that you can be able to relate whenever you are asked in a different environment. Thank you. Yes, Marianne, please ask. I can see your hand is up.
Hello.
Yes.
Unajua jana sikuwa, so sijaelewa ile ambayo amenieleza hapo.
No problem. Maybe you could also go through the recording. It will help a lot because sometimes
Yeah,
these
for real.
things, yeah. Here you will understand everything in the recording. But what we mean, yesterday we introduced basic functions. We introduced count if, we introduced sum, and we even in the first session we also introduced sum, like those basic functions. So what we are doing here, we usually go with the okay, pale penye hujaelewa ni pale kwa count if.
Yes, hapo
Marian,
count
okay.
if.
Yes. So kwa count if, hapo ndio penye nilikuwa naeleza ya kwamba for count if is usually used. Count if is usually used if you have a range and you want to count something based on a criteria. You remember the normal count and counter are used to show how many do we have. Like how many employees do we have? That is count. We use counter for doing that. How many employees do we have, especially when you are using the names or ID or emails or their emails like a unique identifier? How many mail do we have? If you start now, how many mail do we have? How many mail is an if there is a condition in it. So whenever you have a condition, you have to use an if, even if it is some. Suppose you are asked how what did Kevin said? So you'll be like using the sum for anywhere there is Kevin, you are summing with an if condition. So where you'll be required to provide a criteria and also the range. So that's that on the on the count if. But Miriam, I will ask you to go through the recording, and if you will still have a challenge, you will let me know, and then we can schedule a call to catch up.
Okay, it's done.
Okay, thank you. But again, in our day-to-day examples, sometimes we'll again interact with these things. So no worries. So let's go quickly, Maureen. Let's go quickly to the remaining parts. I think we have.
Okay, I have two remaining. The next was I was using the upper and lower function. The upper function is the upper function is when if you want to uppercase your whatever you want to do. Kama mimi, here we had the names, so I wanted to do an uppercase of all the names. I used is equals to, you write upper, and then, oh no, sorry, this one. So it took the upper of the Waidera that I wanted to uppercase, and then I drop down to all the same. And then for lowercase, I use the lower function. So you do is equals to the lower, and then sorry, just the first one, and then you drop down, calculate here for all the whatever you want to do. So the same if I could do to Eric, I could do upper of Eric, and then I drop down and to Mokera, and then lower at lowercase, I do the same. All right. Fail. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I'll go to data. Let me click here. I'll go to data, text to column, delimited. You see delimited. I'll go to next. My separating, my unique, I'll click on adder, like the delimiter. Then adder here, I'll put the @ symbol. So when I put an @ symbol, I can see the function here. So this does not work if I am having a function here until I have now the email address here, and now I remove the functions. Sorry, I remove the functions here. Remove these functions by highlighting like this. You copy, right click, then you paste values only. Sorry, this email wants me to open it. So right click here. Sorry. Yeah, that's normal because email address now is detecting as if I want to email this person, but there's no problem. So you highlight, right click, and then you paste value only. Once you have values only, now you can proceed with my text to column approach. So you select the column that you want, go to text to column. Now go to next. Now provide the unique separator. You can see even from the preview that now you will have the domain separated from the Henry, and you just click next if you want to have that in a different destination. For this case, it will be D1, a destination that is not replacing the email that I had initially. Then I click on finish. So I will be able to have first name and the domain just the way we had initially. That's a quick one. So that is usually helpful at some point. Okay. Now let's go to what we are supposed to cover today. Because you see, when you are talking, there's some things might come up and you might end up not focusing on what you are to train. But that's okay because that's why we are here. We are here to learn. Now, this week 2, session 1, I think this wrong material. Yeah, here. Week 2. So we are looking at data analysis functions. And again, here we are introducing some new functions that are useful in business scenarios. So in this session, we are going to focus on a company ABC, an electronic company, the same company that we've been using scenario for. So this company is growing, but they now have multiple branches and more transactions. They need help making decisions based on conditions like the ifs, retrieving data across sheets. We are going to use now some new technologies like VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP. Don't worry what those are, as in the a few minutes from now, you'll be able to know what those are, and then be able to clean some messy data and so on. So at the end of this session, in this session, we're just going to look at the logical and lookup functions. By the end of this session, you should be able to know how to apply if, and, or nested ifs for business rules. You will also learn VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP and how these apply in the business scenario. So the first thing, and I'm going to use the Maureen's data, which I will also put in the WhatsApp. Let me see, this one is week 2. This is week 1. I think we just used the data that we had in the WhatsApp group. So just check the WhatsApp group. There is a data set there. I think it's called week 2. So just check it there. That data, we are going to use that data for this class. So just download it. So we first start by, now ABC Electronics wants to evaluate salesperson performance and find product pricing from a central price list. The first thing we want to learn is logical functions. So how do these functions apply? Let's go to our data. Suppose we want to know, suppose now we set a rule. Guys, let's now create a scenario. You see, in things to do with sales and marketing, some of us, we did not sit in any sales and marketing class, but now because we deal with data, we must know. So in sales, we are usually, the companies usually look at maybe who is selling more, and maybe awarding sales personnel based on the performance. Maybe someone who is raising revenue above 30,000 to be promoted, and maybe someone having some sales that are below 30,000 to be maybe need some guidance. So how can we do that in Excel to flag those kinds of people, those kinds of relationships in data? So we are going to use this column known as amount. So we have these sales people with their respective cells here. So we want to learn something known as if statement. If statement is an interesting statement. It's just like an English language. For example, when let me go to a keep. We learned about a keep. A keep is something that you can use to take some notes and be saved on your email. So let me go to a keep and write this statement. So you're just using this for maybe if I want to learn about if statement. So if statement, today I'm learning about if statement. If I were you, then I use this because this usually train it in digital skills the first month. So you can use it for your own taking notes. Instead of using your book, you can miss the book. So if statement. So if statement is an English language. For example, we can just say if your sales are below 30,000, 30K, what should we tell this person? Needs mentorship. Then we should ask ourselves again another but now is like but suppose your sales are greater than 30K. So that but we usually call it else. We usually call it else. See, this is still English. Else needs promotion. So this statement is what we want to write in Excel. This is what we want to write in Excel. But it will not be just straight English like this. However, it will be like a function. So we'll be saying, but now for else is not mentioned in Excel, but in other programming languages, for those who are familiar with things to do with the programming, is usually mentioned. But in Excel, it's not mentioned. So just type equal to. In Excel, you'll type equal to, and then we'll say if. We'll say if. And then if you open your parentheses, and maybe you say if, maybe if this is how the programming is usually written. So let me write it first in the programming, and then we will translate it to Excel, what the language Excel understands. So if cell X, maybe cell X1 is having value greater than, we start with less than, value less than 30K, 30,000, you'll have to write 30,000. Do what? Print a message. I don't want to use print, so we'll just use needs mentorship. Else, so usually put here an else statement in this other programming. Else do what? Needs promotion. Like if you are in this category, then you need mentorship. Else you need promotion. So how does that translate to our Excel? Sorry, let me just close one of these tabs here. So how does that translate to our own Excel? So in Excel, this is how we can write something like that. High, low. You can see this is the expression that we refer to. Then we say high, low. So if this is satisfied, then return this. Else, return this. That's how Excel usually reference. Now we will go to our Excel and now apply that to our scenario that we have. So suppose now we want to promote these guys, but we say that a rule here, promotion rule. A promotion rule here is someone must have a revenue, someone must sell above, let's say, 100K. 100K. So you must sell above 100K for you to be promoted. So we will say equal to, then we say if the logical test, you can see this telling logical test. So if this cell is less than, let's say this is less than 30,000. So we'll write 30,000. Do what? Put a comma. Then do what? Put in quotes. Needs mentorship. Then, if that is not true, do what? If it's false now, like it's not true, it's false. Needs promotion. Needs promotion. And then I press enter. Then I press enter. I press enter. So, sorry. So I'll just press enter. Let me just check. This comma is not supposed to be here. This should be just one value like that. 30,000 is not separated. So once I have this, when I press enter, I will now have this guy needs a promotion. Then I drag this down to here. Needs a promotion. This one needs mentorship. This one is 60,000. So we wrote 30,000. We are supposed to put around 100. We had agreed it's 100,000. So let's put 100,000. Press enter. Then drag this down. And then you can know now this guy, Miles. Miles needs promotion because his revenue is above 100K, the sales. You can see Sharon. Sharon also needs promotion. You can see Kevin needs promotion. You can see Noel. Noel needs mentorship because it's below 100K. And then this is Angeline. Angeline needs mentorship because he's also below 100K. Maybe let me hear from you first on is that something difficult? How do you see that, considering maybe we are relating to this maybe for the first time? How do you see that? Is that useful first? Is that useful before you go to is it difficult? Is it useful? Meshak, I know this should help Meshak a lot.
Yes. It's very useful, Emmanuel.
Okay, thank you.
Unaweza isaidia hata ku maybe kama unataka kutrack kama kumotivate some of your maybe members wenye unafanya nayo kazi.
Yes. And considering that now you have them ni wengi, and so you are looking for a criteria, how can you award them? And to be fair, you just set a rule that if someone happens to have below this, then this guy needs a mentorship still. But if someone is above this, then this person is good for promotion. Maureen, how is this useful? Yes, Meshak? I can see your hand is up.
Okay, Emmanuel, I have a question. Please, if you can just retrieve the data back, then I ask a question. Okay, so for this case, is it possible that there's how the maybe the people you're working with
Yes.
can be the people now inserting this data so that you can see it from your end and work on it?
Yes. So, as we said, for collaboration environment, yeah? For collaboration environment, it's good for you to use Google Sheets. So if, for example, as I said again, Meshak, you can integrate different, for example, digital tools like the Google Forms and spreadsheets. So your workers or people you are working with can feel like the sales personnel can fill the Google form. Their sales every day populate in a sheet. This sheet, the person who has access to the sheet is you. So what you do is oversight. Once you see the oversight, you are the one who now develops the rules. You are the one now, because you now understand the Excel and the Google Sheets. Now you can even do some referencing from one sheet to the other, set the rules. When someone makes some sales, do some totals for every for every salesperson. You are the one who sets that, but the data that is coming in from them on their sales, it's them that does that, and they do that using the Google Forms. So that data now flows in the Google Sheets, and then now you can easily work on the Google Sheets. Just the way we are doing in Excel is the same thing you do in Google Sheets. Same functions, you just use the same functions in Google Sheets. So because now Excel, unless you are using the Excel as an online version, Excel is usually not easily integrated with the Microsoft Forms when it is the desktop. But if it is online version, fine. But if it is desktop, then it's difficult for you to integrate it with an online form where people can easily submit responses. But with Google Workspace, the one we covered in the first week, you can use the forms, create, link to the spreadsheets, see the spreadsheets, now create these rules in the spreadsheets as they remain with the Google Forms by just filling their submission. I think that answers your question, Meshach. So as time goes by, you'll be able to see how these things do. So as we learn small by small, by the end of the whole course, you will be far away and you will have started integrating your own Google Sheets for your business scenarios. So I think that is okay. Is there any question, Maureen? Any question here on if statement? I know we will again interact with it as we proceed.
No, I'm okay. I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Miriam, is
I
everything
don't have
okay?
question. Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so that's how we apply, and hope you have the data. You're also trying some of these things. I'll give you a second to try so that you can see that how does that go. Now, we have seen that, and suppose now, if now we have a small value, maybe a small value like you see, sometimes functions can be very sophisticated. Functions can be very sophisticated. Can be very sophisticated. What I mean is, functions can be very sophisticated. Sometimes they can be very complicated, depending on the business scenario. Depending on the business scenario you have, functions can be very complicated. So, I want, let me give Maureen, I want Maureen to help us flag products. Help us flag products. If the product has units sold, if product has unit sold, let me see, unit in stock. So let me insert here. So I'd like Maureen to insert here a column. Unit in stock. Unit remaining. Units remaining in stock. So units remaining in stock, and maybe something like unit purchased. Units purchased. Units purchased. Just make this bold. We are not using accounting terms. We are just using this because sometimes things to do with sales are usually easier to understand to accommodate everyone. But this can be even sales for even drugs if you are doing in healthcare industry, medicine. Sales for the medicine related, units remaining. So you can use this for your record, your record keeping tasks. Health records, units remaining in stock. So units purchased, these are the number of units. Maybe suppose you did an order of 20 2020. Let me just have a common value 2020 up to down here, but now units remaining will be equal to, units remaining is equal to the units that you purchased minus the units that you sold, right? So now we have a new column here. Yeah, I think that will be okay. That will be okay. Very fantastic. Now I want Maureen to insert a column known as units remaining and units purchased, and then I want you to create now this. Then from this now is what we will now use to flag here things to do with out of stock, and another opposite of out of stock is what? Yeah, so Maureen will guide us from there. So Maureen, time is yours. Maybe you share your screen. You do that, and then Meshach will also see something else that we'll be able to do with the other team because we have a lot. So let's do that and see how it goes. Maureen, you can share your screen.
Okay, sawa. Share my screen. Here.
Right.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, we can see your screen.
So nilikuwa nimeanza kufanya na wewe. So
Okay.
I had created this column.
You can remove
and
the highlight.
the highlights. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Also this one.
Yes. Okay. So we now have these two columns, new inserted columns. So you can, so we want you to insert a column that will help us track, that you want the organization to know.
I'm not seeing Maureen's screen.
I think it should be coming
I'm only
shortly
seeing...
because of your internet, Meshach. If not, you can drop and come back because it could be your internet, because from our side, I think we are able to see. Maybe Mariam, you can react with the thumbs up if you can be able to see Maureen's screen. Miriam, yeah, so Meshach, I think is the internet, and I think he will join and then we'll be okay to go. So, as I was saying, this is usually good, especially when you are doing things to do with stock or things that you don't need to be out of stock. Like you don't want things to be untracked. You need to know what is it remaining, and some things might even be attached to date. So now, Maureen, you can proceed. So now that Meshach is back, you can now insert a column, maybe column J. Column J could be now unit status. No,
Unit
first
status.
give a title. First give a title, unit status. Units status. Then now you can use the equal to. Then now use the if. So if the units remaining is less than 5, let's say is less than 10,
10.
remove comma that you have there.
It doesn't have a comma.
There's no comma there.
Okay.
That comma comes after the logical expression, logical test. That's the whole, that combination is called logical test. If F2 is less than 10 is a logical test. So now you put comma. Yeah. So if F2 is less than 10, if that happens to be true, what should it return? What should it return, Meshach?
Restock.
restock. Should return restock. Else, suppose now restock need to be in quotes. The restock need to be in quotes, so you need to put in quotes. So every text in Excel need to be in quotes, Put a comma. Else is when that is false. When that is false, we call it in stock. Put a comma.
In stock.
Put a comma, and you have to put a comma first before you type your in stock. In stock.
In stock.
In stock need to be in quotes also. So every text in Excel needs to be in quotes. Then close. Then now you can press enter. Then you just drag that to apply to the rest. So you can see, yeah, so anything that is below 10 is restock, but above 10 is still in stock. So suppose you change a value, let's say unit sold, you change for this guy called in stock, this guy called unit sold, go to unit sold. That guy called Miles. Maybe let's say Miles sold 10. Sold, let's say 11.
Sorry.
So it will automatically update the other side.
Yes.
And it updates everything in the entire data. Up to the amount, everything updates. So that's the good thing to do, to use functions and formulas. So even if you have 12 sheets and you have keenly integrated them, when you update one sheet, it updates everything up to the end. So I think that is okay. That's clear. So maybe we can spend some time practicing after the session. So that's what we call logical expression. Sometimes logical expressions might be very, very complicated per se. But for this session, considering it's the first session on logical expressions, we'll not be introducing the nested one, but you can try it at home because sometimes they might be complicated. But now, because we are introducing these concepts, I'm not advised at this level to introduce the conjunction, joining the two. Now, let's go to something that is interesting that Meshach would need to know. I'm using Meshach because when we started learning about Google Sheets, Meshach was worried he had something that he was to work on and needed a lot of understanding of Google Sheets. And it really is usually based on maybe formulas and functions, which he was not comfortable with. So I'm using him every time, referencing to him, so that he can be keen when we are talking about these things, so that he can know that this is what I need, and I will be mentioning your name every time, so that you can know that this is what you need to know. Now, in Meshach's scenario, Meshach works on waste management, waste collection and segregation. So Meshach has people like salespeople, let's say, call them like salespeople per se. Collectors, they're actually, I think I can call them waste collectors, and then he has their kgs that they usually collect per day and wants to track. So suppose in our scenario, I'll create Meshach's scenario here. I'll just use these people as the people that Meshach uses for his work. So I'll come here. Okay. Now, let's say we have salesperson, and we know how many these people, how many people do we have here? We already know them. Maybe they are known, like in this scenario, they are already known. So we need to we need to create data validation. From the previous session, we apply data validation technique here so that we already know these people. If they were using, for example, Google Form, you could have used drop down as a field so that they don't keep on typing their own names. So someone just select his own name and then can be able to proceed. Maybe a unique identifier or his own name. And maybe you can set some unique identifiers once the data comes in, and then now someone can be able to use that for referencing. So let's now use data validation here first. So measure if I were you and I was setting up my data spreadsheet. So I'll start with data validation. So data validation here, I'll create a list of what? A list of salespeople, or maybe whatever they are. So because now I have a list of 50 people, it will be very difficult for me to type here 50 people, comma, comma, comma. There is a way of referencing to these things by clicking on this arrow. Go to where your 50 people are, you highlight them like this, and then you click this arrow back, and then you click on OK. And so you will have now these guys here. You can see these guys are here. So you apply this to up to where you want this to be. Maybe these were 6 people. So I'll have up to that end. So I have already applied it to this other cell. So when I just come here, just select on the drop down. So these sales people are bringing, let's say, the kgs, the waste they collect, kgs they collect. So remember, this data is not coming here. Maybe these guys are bringing kgs, and as they bring kgs, these guys, maybe they have maybe 50 kg. So maybe this guy is miles, and maybe this guy is. Let me just have these guys the way they are. It's no problem. Sharon, Kevin, Noel, and Leroy. Hey, then we have Leroy, then we have Angeline. Have Angeline at the end. So we have the kgs of these guys, the kgs that they collect every day. So this is 30, maybe 20, maybe 40, maybe 45, and 20. Now, suppose you want to know how much waste did Sharon bring. Maybe they are in a list of 1,000 people. How many waste, or how many kgs did Sharon collect? So you will be looking these people by their salesperson's name. You will be looking them by their name. So we call it salesperson. And then here is where you will see the kgs that these guys have collected. So I'll come here because I want the drop down. I'll just come here and paste this here because I wanted the drop down. It's the drop down that I'm looking for. So it's not the person, but I'm just looking for the drop down. So here is where we apply a formula known as VLOOKUP, a function known as VLOOKUP. Let's be very keen here. So the VLOOKUP function is used to loop data from a particular table. So let's first of all see what it does, and then I will explain once we see what it has done. So we start with equal to VLOOKUP, I select like VLOOKUP, open the parenthesis. The lookup value is which unique value do you want to use to reference to those people in that table to uniquely identify them. So this is maybe their salesperson if they are having unique names. Put a comma. The table array is the range of the data. The table array is the range of the data. So you highlight your entire range of your data. Put a comma. Column index. So in this case, the column index that we are looking for is you see the column index here, this is 1, 2. 1, 2. So we are looking for this person, and this person is number what in this? This person is number 1. So he's in column 1. Put a comma. Then the range is usually true, false, true, false, true, false. So we usually use approximate match, and don't even worry about that thing there. However, this one that you see here will be used for just this identifying this column. However, its role is basically to return which value are you looking for here? Which value are you looking for here? You're looking for kgs. Kgs are in which column? So I want you to differentiate there. This one is not referencing that now this salesperson is in column 1. However, is referencing to what are we looking for, and it is in which column? So it is in column 2. And so that's why this will not be 1, will be 2. So I wanted us first to see that, and then now fast track. So when we press enter here, we'll see like NA, meaning these are a return error because this is blank. So this will be NA. But if you select one of the person here, let's say Noel, you will see that Noel has collected, this is Noel is telling us Noel collected 40. There's a problem. Let's see. Angeline, NA. Yeah, there is a problem somewhere. So we'll need to figure out. Miles, 20. Yeah, there is a problem with this formula. So we will need to find out what is happening. So B1, we have A1 to B2. A1 to B2. And then this is F3. There's a problem here. Oh, this is true. It's supposed to be false. That's why it is doing that. So let's do this. This is true. This is supposed to be false. Exact match. Exact match. Yes. Exact match. It's supposed to be exact match. I've seen where the problem has been. So if you put approximate match, it will do their own approximation. But if you put exact match, it will return the correct answer. So you can see here that now when I just select Angeline, I see, oh, Angeline has 20 kgs. Leroy, 45 kgs. And they are actually here. You can see. So I'll repeat about this. Let's say for these guys that we have already been looking at their case study, let's say that you want to know how much sales does Miles have, or Sharon, or any one of those guys. So first we'll need this drop down, because drop down is easier for us to switch. So we'll need this drop down. Let's take this drop down here. So I'll delete this, right? So I just have my list here. Oh, this list is not referencing from the other. This one is referencing this side because of this. Yeah. So that's why it's not here. So maybe we'll have to create this data validation for this instance. Remember, we had provided a range, but that range is not the range that is here unless we provide the correct range. So we'll just delete this and provide clean range afresh because we are referencing from another sheet. So we'll have to reference that this way so that we can locate that data. That's how it works. Then you click on OK. So this will now be okay. This will now be okay. This one will now be okay. Because we are referencing in another sheet, you have to correctly reference to another sheet while creating the data validation. Now that I have the salesperson name, now I want to know their amount. I want to know the amount that these guys have been selling. So what do I need to do? I need to come here. Oh, ile drop down is here. So let's take this to the next row. Let's take this to the next row. Let's take this to the next row. So I'll come here to amount. Click on equal to VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP. The first thing is the lookup value, the unique identifier you're going to use to reference to these guys. So it is the salesperson's name. Then put a comma. Table array. The table array is the range of your data. Range of your data. Just like that. Range of your data. My data should stop on J. So let me stop this, my data and column J. Yeah. Then put a comma. Then next thing is the column index number. So you can see the amount is in which column. Amount is in which column. So you count from this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Amount is in column 8. Put comma. Then exact match, not approximate match. Select exact match. Then close your VLOOKUP function. Close your VLOOKUP function. When you press enter, you will see null value. In some advanced scenario, we usually add here an error alert. So when an error comes, it tells us not found instead of telling us this error. So it should tell us not found instead of giving us this error. Suppose you type here something that is not in this data, it should return maybe not found. So usually use something we call if error. So once you understand this, we'll be able to introduce that maybe in the next session. If error, so that it doesn't show this. So when you come here and select, maybe let's say we want to know Noel. What did Noel sell? Suppose you have like 10,000. This data is like 10,000 or even 100,000 rows. You will not keep on scrolling, looking for Noel, looking for Noel. You will need a shortcut. So that's why we are learning this. So you click on Noel and you can see that the revenue for Noel was 60,000, and you can confirm that with what we have here. You can even switch this to Angeline and see Angeline had a sale of 20,000, and that is what Angeline has. And now this becomes very useful when you want to quickly fetch or loop into data. Any question on VLOOKUP as I give you an opportunity to practice on it? Any question on VLOOKUP and how useful is the VLOOKUP? Maureen?
Yes.
How is VLOOKUP?
Eh? Okay, it's interesting. I mean, you'll continue practicing.
Yes. It's very useful. If you get just hold of it, you will understand it very well. What I will encourage you again, I will encourage you to also, suppose you have a problem in Excel you wanted to solve. Maybe I might not be there when you need. Also you can even make use of, you see now we have AI. So you can leverage on the potential of generative AI to help you maybe also solve some problems. Sometimes problems are usually sophisticated, and taking your time to think through how you can be able to solve the problem might take you years. Yet generative AI came to be your support team. Someone else will use it and will replace you. So you need to ensure that you also integrate artificial intelligence in your solutions. So that one will help you. So what you just need to cross-check and know if this is the correct thing that you are having. Like the way I did, I saw that there was an error. Suppose I had generated that by AI and I did not know that something is wrong. I could have proceeded like you see. But now because you know, you have the foundation, you will know that things are not adding up. And we will fix that. So I encourage you also to use generative AI to help you, especially on functions. Might take you some time for you to master, but they are very interesting. So this is a VLOOKUP function. You can see it's very nice. You can apply it in different scenarios. You can apply it in sales. You can apply it in schools for fetching students' data. You can apply in whichever scenario that you are in. Anything. So like for Meshach's case, needs VLOOKUP a lot. because his data comes, the data populates in let's say Google Sheet, and then once that data is in Google Sheet, you need to look through the data in another sheet for you to get some specific amounts in another sheet. So you'll need the VLOOKUP. And I have recordings on the YouTube channel Beyond Data Statistics Solutions, specifically for the VLOOKUPs, XLOOKUPs, these specific components of functions like countifs, all this. I had these videos talking about some ifs family, like sum family. Now sum family, I talk about the sum ifs, all those friends of sum. If it is count if, I also did that. That's also on the YouTube. So if you get time and you are exploring, you are learning, also you can check that out. If you encounter a problem, ask me. I'll be very happy to see that you have shared your assignment, highlighted an area that you did not understand, the way Maureen did it. So Meshach, for your case, I want you, Meshach, to share your screen and maybe give me a problem scenario. I guide you using the VLOOKUP, the way you have seen, the way you have done this. Give me a problem scenario that you have. Let me guide you on how to use it on the VLOOKUP. And then that will mark the end of our session today. I value the psychology of my students. I could have introduced another friend of VLOOKUP, but we'll introduce that in the next session. So we have a friend of VLOOKUP called XLOOKUP. So we'll introduce this. You can also do some research on it. But we'll introduce this in the next session. So Meshach, time is yours. Let me stop sharing and please proceed. Share your screen. Give me a problem scenario that you feel like the VLOOKUP can help you fix. And let me guide you how to go about now that you've seen how VLOOKUP work.
Okay, thank you, Manuel. Allow me to share my screen then. Okay.
I stopped sharing, so maybe it's just some lag. Yeah.
Okay, let me share my screen. I have two emails here. I don't know if you're in a position, you are seeing my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen mention.
Though my internet is low, I don't know what's wrong with my internet, but let me just continue sharing.
I think it's because of your internet strength. But what do you want to look at? You want to open a particular document?
Yes, then so that you can work on that.
Okay. Yeah, it's back now. Okay.
So, from So for my case, if I'm using Google Form, I need first to download it in form of an Excel, isn't it? Or okay. Okay. Let it open. My internet is let me give you time load, then itatuambia hapo the number of responses. So as it is opening, so this one is this form we use it to collect our, like track our daily sales in our buyback center. Okay, it's open. So we go to sheets.
Yeah, so you click on view in sheets. So that will lead you to the Google Sheet. So that will work for you best more than even Excel because they are already integrated. So whenever the submissions are coming, they usually stream. So they will be real time updating in the sheets.
Okay. So the only problem with ours is that we even engage photos. So for your case, for us to know that maybe you sold 200 kgs of plastic, you have to take a photo. So I don't know how that is going to work here.
No problem. That verification you can do by yourself. Oh, you mean that? So what you need to do, apart from just putting the totals in the photos, you need to have a field in the form, a field that asks someone to provide the exact value, and then attach. You can ask now someone to attach an evidence. But yes, you can ask someone to attach the
So for
evidence.
example,
Yes.
see this. So the name of the respondent, maybe I'll have to do a drop down of this letter. So the person who is filling the form, the email, the phone number, yeah, it has to be supervised. So for example, here, this question, how do you now engage now somebody to fill?
So
Maybe the exact figure.
Yes, you need to click on the question above that one, that talks about the supervisor. Click on the supervisor question, supervised by. Click on that. Now click on the plus symbol to add another question. Then under multiple choice, you need to switch that to short answer. Switch that short answer. And then in the question now, type the question: total kgs of carton stroke carpet. So this one will now allow someone to type the values. So we usually do some, we call them reg expressions. Some of these things are not, there are advanced versions of Google Forms or data collection per se, where you can set rules to allow only values to be entered instead of someone typing. For example, if someone sold 40, we don't expect someone to write 40, the 40 words. Rather, we expect someone to write 40 the value. So unless you just tell your people, and you can even write in the description, when you click on the three dots that you see after required, down there, there's description. So you can click on description and then type there values only, e.g. values only, e.g. Then you can put an e.g. maybe 50, maybe 40, maybe 10, e.g. Then you can put 2, or at least a value someone can understand. So when someone sees this, yeah, that's okay. So again, when you go to the same where there is the three dots, when you go back to where there is three dots, there is a response validation. So under response validation here is where we usually set these rules now on the number. So the number must be greater than. That is okay. You see the regular expression. We usually use the regular expression when we have advanced scenarios. But for your case, we'll use number is number, or number is whole number. You can select number is whole number or number is number. So this number is number will mean that it will accept numbers including even decimal points. But if you say whole number, then it means that people will only be required to provide whole numbers without the decimal points.
Okay.
So this one now restricts people from typing 4 in words instead of 4 in letters. So if you want to custom error text, you can copy the description. Custom error text, you can copy the description. This is an error that will appear when someone tries to type the text. So we need someone to be told values only.
Okay.
10, 40, 50. So you can copy that and paste there as an error. Copy, then you paste there. Okay. Then you have now solved that problem. So this other side of the total app kgs of carton, that is an image, you can say upload. Maybe upload the image of. Now that can now be an upload question and not the total kgs. Can be upload. Upload the image of that.
Okay.
You need to specify. I think I saw like we have 2 questions there. You need to specify, is it on carton and something? So you specify carpet and carton. So you specify like that. So that also you'll do on the other one. So that will do that later.
Okay. Okay.
So that's how you do it. When you preview, you can preview. Click on the preview icon, the one with the eye. Now scroll down. You can see now total kgs of carpet bought. Can you type there 4 in letters, 4 in words?
Okay.
Can you click outside that? It cannot even allow you to go to the next. When you submit, it cannot allow you even to submit. It cannot allow you until you fix that by writing a letter, like writing a value like 40 in the exact value. It will accept.
This is in Malawa.
So once you have, now that's what you will do, is when you will now get data that you can now use the VLOOKUP.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll need to do that, and then we'll use that VLOOKUP. Yeah. So maybe colleagues, I just ask you to practice on VLOOKUP. Come up with again, as a good teacher, I must give an assignment. So let me give you an assignment so that you can practice what we have learned. Just apply the VLOOKUP alone. My assignment was to also, maybe you can stop sharing, Meshach.
Okay. Just a minute.
So I'll post this in the WhatsApp chat. So don't do the XLOOKUP. I have shared the assignment in the WhatsApp chat. Don't do the XLOOKUP. Just focus on the VLOOKUP. Just focus on what we have learned. I will introduce the XLOOKUP in the next session, and I believe that it will be wonderful to see what you will be able to do in the next session, before the next session, which is Thursday. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. Okay. So thank you so much for joining our session today. We are looking forward to see how fruitful we are going to practice these things. That's why we are using real world case studies. So try to practice, try to use also some generative AI, things like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Grok. You need to use those things. to solve the problems that you face. If you cannot solve now, you now ask me those questions. I'll be able to help you solve the challenges. Otherwise, thank you for joining our session today, and hope to see you on Thursday's session 4 of 8. Have a nice evening.